guys for coming out, and I'd really like to thank Yes Yes Books and Catherine Sullivan for inviting me up to read for this. This is a great honor. I timed this. I think I've got 20 minutes worth of poems, so we'll see, unless I start going real slow. This first poem actually fits really well with the poem that Robert just read, because it also mentions the informer and throws in a little vanilla ice. That said, I will be rapping at one point. I'm a 36-year-old white woman. You've got fair warning on that. And also another thing to know about the poem, the selkie is supposedly, there's a myth that selkies are seals that can kind of take their skin off and then become people. That just figures in very vaguely, but selkies are kind of seal people. This is called A Licky Boom Boom Down. You are getting too old for this sitting at a table by the lake of a Sunday afternoon, reading How to Be Idle, in which young British visionary Tom Hodgkinson reminds his readers that Hitler and Stalin gave their people a promise of total efficiency, which the people, in their weakness, were both comforted and deceived by. These Sundays that follow those nights where someone who knows someone you used to be very close to is having a birthday, so everyone gets drunk, and a man says to you, "You're a very beautiful woman," and your husband says, "I was a little uncomfortable with that," the next morning as you're making breakfast, and in reply, you just kiss him while flipping a pancake without even dirtying up a spatula. Don't you think you're too old for these nights when it's the birthday of a close friend, and you agree to go out for sushi, even though you don't eat your fishy brethren, being that you're of selkie blood? Someone starts singing Snow's Informer and hollers as loud as can be, "A licky boom boom down," in the crowded upscale joint, and someone counters with, "Stop, collaborate, and listen." Think about telling the story of how that song saved your life. How your folks never had the money to get your teeth fixed, but tried to make up for it by sending you to Saturday charm school at Sears. That just made you feel worse about your lack of intuitive grooming, and who knew lime green and leopard print didn't go together? That one day the image of St. Robert of the Vanilla Ice appeared to you in a dream, saying, "Ice is back with a brand new benediction, something's grabbing a hold of you tightly, flowing like a bitter bitch daily and nightly." Think better of sharing. I'm not so good. Think better of sharing, and instead get in a debate about if it's just DJ revolves it or my DJ revolves it. Yes, you are getting too old for this heading over to the Backwoods Blues Club that has fried mullet for sale during the intermission, where your steps are so hot you think, "Oh yeah, dance like nobody's watching, baby, dance like nobody's watching," as you shake your tail feather and use those sweet dance moves you've learned from Jennifer Gallardi's Dance It Off video workout. Yet as clearly can be seen, you're wrong. When the woman whose woo you've been admiring all night comes up and says, "You're the best couple here," then punches your husband in the arm, winks, says, "You take advantage of that tonight, you hear?" You realize it's not about dancing like nobody's watching. It's about dancing like everybody's watching. And they're fucking loving every move you make, like it's 3 a.m. eternal, and as British acid house band KLF's Bill Drummond says, it's the point in the day when the responsibilities and realities of the previous day have gone, and those of the next day haven't arrived yet. But aren't you ready for it to be 8 p.m. eternal, where while out on your evening constitutional, you watch the Muscovy duck with the pompadour grumble at the barking dogs, and all the mistakes of the current day play in technicolor in your hippocampus as they move from short term to long term, and all the mistakes of tomorrow are still whispering in your frontal lobe? Aren't you ready to get away from these youthful delusions? Settle down with a cup of songbird-friendly decaf and a scone made with organic corn syrup. Well, as artist, yogini, and organic gardener Naomi Uda said, it's probably an illusion, but if it's an illusion, I want to have a good one, when asked about her faith in herself as a goddess of a woman. So go ahead, shake your flippers, get on down into seal pose. It is the pose of your people. Let that daylight never come. I promise there will be no more rapping, no more like sort of fake rapping. It's not that. This next one is called Sonnet 116. I cannot look upon tempests. I cannot look upon tempests and not allow my branches to bend. We've left our mark on this house at the edge of doom, burns on the counter from a casserole the day your mother died, water stains from broken pipes. I am a woman quick to admit my mistakes, but slow to realize them. Forgive me all my alterations, those nips and tucks of the soul, those pushings and prods. I wish I could promise you an ever-fixed love, a never-shaken wife, but ask you to remember how even concrete balconies are built to give, lest they collapse beneath the weight of the crowd. This next poem is based on a winterizing pamphlet from the Ohio Department of Development in 1983. I have taken out some of the words and put in some other words of my own. You'll probably know which ones those are, but it's called Little Things That Add Up to Wintertime Comfort. It's easier and cheaper to heat your body than to get a divorce. Dress warmly indoors. Sweaters, toe socks, white ski masks with mouths outlined in red. Layers of clothing provide better protection against cold than a single layer of thick infidelity. Higher humidity helps you tolerate lower thermostat settings as well. If you don't have a humidifier installed at birth or in some small Church of Christ down your grandmother's holler, try setting pans of mea culpas on radiators or near guilt registers to increase the winter humidity level in your home. Nothing works against the dryness of pride and lust like guilt and accepting responsibility for someone else's failings. You may want to consider this measure. You may not want to consider this measure if you have small children in your home due to potential esteem hazards. Lower your thermostat at night and sleep under layers of blankets, like the wedding quilt your grandmother made. Seeing the fabric scraps from her old polyester pantsuits will be all the warmth you need. Will protect you from night wanderings. Don't set the thermostat at a higher setting than normal when you wake up in the morning. Your husband will not warm up faster. On sunny days, keep hearts and flowers open all the way on south-facing windows. It's free heating. Hearts should be tightly closed at night and on overcast days to cut heat loss. Do not exhaust yourself trying to cut the dark when sealing yourself tight against its chill is quicker and more energy efficient. Move romantic comedies, copies of Cosmo, and other items that block air circulation away from heating outlets and return air grills to prevent complications. Clean or replace the filter in your system once a month during the heating season, or more frequently if your husband is extremely dusty. Do what you can to help the flow, but do not force it. Plug leaks, batten down the hatches, and put on a wool sweater. These simple steps will help ensure that you and your household budget make it safely and warmly to the spring.